The Lexicon 224 is a fantastic sounding, iconic 80s digital algorithmic reverb. And there's a lot going on under the hood. Let's look over the controls first and then we'll put it to work. Now the main parameters are the bass and mid faders here, and it makes this plugin really unique. We can set the reverb tail time separately for two independent frequency ranges, and the separation frequency of the two bands is determined by this crossover point. So this is basically a time control, and this is the crossover point. Now the treble decay rolls off the high frequencies by allowing us to set a frequency above which the delays are decayed very rapidly. Depth controls the distance between the source and reverb, and pre-delay, as we know, introduces a short delay between the sound source and the onset of the reverb. And the value changes for each algorithm. We have 8 algorithms here, and we can also get to, in addition to these 8 reverb algorithms, a chorus algorithm, and we get to that by shift-clicking any one of these, which puts it into the chorus mode, or we can just click on this chorus button, and that gets the hidden 9th algorithm. Now, getting back to the reverb plugins, we have diffusion, and this affects how quickly the echo density in the reverb builds up over time. And we can adjust the diffusion here. We can increment and decrement with these buttons, and we see the readout in the display over here. We have a hidden panel here that we can open or close with this button. And I'm going to talk about the pitch shift in a moment, but we have input and output levels. We have left and right controls separately, and they're linked together here via this link button. They can easily be unlinked. And the display hold switch is used to toggle the display of the edited parameter here. So we can toggle between staying on screen for 1.5 seconds or infinity, which will leave it on permanently. And then there's a power button. And there's another little hidden function here. The UA logo button is actually a toggle which enables a bug fix, which prevents a bug that was on the original hardware that could result in pops and clicks under some circumstances. So good idea to leave it on. Now, another word about how the controls work here. We have the dry and wet controls over here, and we can adjust the mix that way. Or we have solo mode, which is like putting it up 100% wet and 0% dry. And when this is off, we click here to change the values. We single click and we see it updating in the display. But we can also just keep our finger down to continuously scroll the value. Same thing works with the reverb diffusion here. So how does this plugin work? Well, we use the 6 sliders for the main adjustments. Clicking and dragging on the cap will display the value there. And if we click on the actual label, it'll return it to the default value for the specific preset that's loaded. Now we also have rear outs that emulates 2 additional outputs that were available on the hardware unit for quadraphonic reverb, and that, when it's enabled, will enable that functionality. So we click here to choose the different algorithms. And you can see that the parameters update to default settings for each one. If we have this immediate mode button active, it locks the parameters in place when we're switching the algorithms. So when I switch here, you'll see that they'll stay. It's a good way of auditioning your settings with the different algorithms. We also have a system noise button that emulates noise found on the original hardware. Now let's talk about this pitch shift. We have something here called mode enhancement. We can turn it on or off there, and we adjust the amounts over here. And we adjust the pitch over here. Again, this increments and this decrements. So what it does is it changes the perception of the density without thickening the reverb. It's worthwhile experimenting with. It's a nice unique effect that makes this plugin special. And we also have something called Decay Optimization, which we turn on or off there. And again, it's optimized for each of these algorithms. And we can offset it manually here. And it reduces the reverb diffusion and coloration based on the input signal. So worthwhile experimenting with. Let's hear what this all sounds like. Here I've got this on a drum bus, and I've got percussion plate called up. And we can reduce the amount of reverb time on the higher frequencies, or increase it. Change the crossover point. Or I can have them decay more quickly. Let's get the drums a bit farther away. Here it is dry. So it's a nice tasty plate style reverb. Here I've got it on a couple of brass instruments. Let's decay the highs. And let's lock in the parameter values and check some of the different algorithms. Here it is on a guitar solo, and I love decaying the high end for a nice warm reverb. Let's try dirtying up the tail with some mode enhancement amount and some pitch shifting. Gives it a kind of brighter quality. So the UID Lexicon 224, really flexible, unique sounding reverb, great in all kinds of contexts. Check it out.